guys, today I'm here to talk about Mulan 2020, aka Disney's live-action Mulan, because it's had quite a few controversial changes in its writing process and behind-the-scenes sort of things recently, which I want to kind of fully explain in this video, like why changes have been made and stuff, because people at the moment are not very happy. So I want to try today to convince you guys that Mulan's going to be an awesome film and we all need to support it. So I definitely think this film's going to end up being very different from the animated film. Much like Jungle Book and Cinderella, where they change things up a bit, don't have many songs and stuff and all that sort of thing. But that's not necessarily a bad thing as everyone's saying. That's just making the film more unique on its own and giving it a distinct vibe to the animated film and really standing out. Because I think ones like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin a bit, because the films are quite similar to the animated versions of them, and they don't really feel quite like their own thing. I do think Aladdin does stand out there more because of the fact in Aladdin they managed to stay true to the original film or the animated film, but they definitely fleshed out the characters more and gave it its own sort of thing going on. But it's not like Cinderella or Jungle Book where it's literally a completely different story, so it's not that distinctive. But I'd say compared to Beauty and the Beast, it's definitely a little more distinctive. But yeah, Mulan's going to be on the very distinctive route, but that's, like I said, not necessarily a bad thing. And speaking of Aladdin, Aladdin also had pretty big backlash when things were being revealed about the film, such as the genie and stuff. I've personally supported this film from the beginning. And guess what? It turned out amazing. Everyone loves it. It didn't flop, and all that thing. So I think even though Mulan's having some controversial things at the moment, I think it will definitely persevere in the end when it comes out next year for sure. Anyways, so let's get started with the actual story of Mulan. Disney's Mulan is about a girl called Mulan who takes her father's place in war due to him being injured and ill. So she ends up being in the army and trains with them so they can go against the Huns, but falls in love with the leader of the army called Li Shang. Unfortunately for her, she is pretty terrible in war, and Li Shang kicks out as he has no faith in her. But Mulan proves him wrong by climbing up to the top of the tower and retrieving the arrow, showing everyone she has what it takes to be in the army. With all of Li Shang's army trained and ready for war, they leave to go and find the Huns. When they reach where the Huns' last location was, they find out they were too late, and the village had been burnt down, and Li Shang's father had been revealed to be killed in the last encounter with the Hun army. But unfortunately, Mushu, Mulan's friend, the Mushu the dragon, let out a massive rocket from inside the cabinet, showing Mulan's and Li Shang's army's location. The Huns, waiting for that signal, came down with plummets of arrows aiming all at them. In a life or death situation, Mulan grabbed the last spare rocket and aimed it towards the mountain. In doing so, the Hun army was covered and drowned in snow. When they arrive back from the incident, Mulan has been revealed to be wounded, and unfortunately for her, they find out she is a woman. If she had not saved Li Shang's life in the previous battle, she would have been killed for her actions due to her being a female. But luckily for her saving Li Shang's life, he also spared her. Lost and alone in the mountains, her and Mushu were ready to go back home, and Mulan got ready to face her father. But then in the mountains, she noticed the Huns were still alive as she saw one of them in the distance. Panicked, she went back to the Emperor's palace and went to try and find Li Shang and the others to tell them that they had failed and that the army was still alive and well, the Hun army. But nobody would listen to her because she was now a woman, and she didn't know what to do. But she was too late. The Hun army had already infiltrated the Emperor's palace and kidnapped him. But she ran through all the crowd to help Li Shang and the gang. Well, they helped her with some convincing, and with her ways and strategic ways that were different from everyone else's, they climbed up the palace, fought Li Shang and exploded him with fireworks. Having saved the day, Mulan had honoured her family and all of China, and the Emperor gave Mulan a medal and a sword for her bravery and heart. And that, guys, is the story of Disney's Mulan. Now, back onto Mulan 2020. Here are the changes proposed that may be occurring with the film. So, number 1, there'll be no songs. However, in a recent article, it is stated that songs will be like instrumental in the background. I guess that's kind of like Jungle Book, like what they did there, like a combination of Jungle Book and Cinderella kind of technique there, which I honestly don't mind. The second thing is Li Shang won't be in the film. That is true. The idea is his character's going to be separated into 2 people essentially. So there's going to be one person that will be leading the Hun army, and there'll be another that will be one of Mulan's like accompaniments. One of them will be her love interest, or there'll be like a 4th one with those 3 that are already there. The other half of Li Shang, like the in charge of army Li Shang, he won't have like any relationship with Mulan. He's just there to control the troops and stuff. I honestly don't mind that, as long as if like they keep the essence of Li Shang. That's honestly fine with me, to be honest. And then lastly, the biggest controversial one, I guess. I mean, all kind of controversial. There's 2 more actually. The first one is about Shang Yu now being a witch lady. Like maybe there's like this witch person that has armies. I don't know, but I guess we'll see when we see the film. And the final biggest controversial one, which has come across, is no Mushu. I mean, to be honest, it's not even no Mushu now. I think it's like Mushu's no longer a dragon, but it's a phoenix. Maybe he'll have a different name as well, as with some of the other characters, because he's a different animal now. So basically, essentially, instead of a fire dragon lizard thing, will now be a phoenix, which is kind of an interesting thing. And there is actually support for this one, as the cast appear to be wearing phoenix-like bird thing logo of the title Mulan. So, like on their clothing wear, there's like a bird next to the word Mulan that looks like a phoenix. So that kind of heavily implies it's going to be a big theme. Whether the phoenix is actually Mushu or like another character entirely, I don't know. Or whether it's like a spirit. Like I say, like, there's so many like things going around, but we don't have anything to connect them all together yet. So that's why it's kind of like all over the place. But I think when we see the trailer, we'll get more of a, more of an idea of what we're getting on this film. When they announced live action Mulan, I was like, yeah, there's going to be some changes, like quite big ones, like I can already tell. Because unlike films like Aladdin or Beauty and the Beast and stuff, which are based on books, Mulan is based on an actual real tale that is like told in China. So there is obviously so much controversy surrounding this film in China specifically. So I knew, like, because of today's like society, people get like offended deeply over films, like for quick reasons. Obviously Disney would have to be careful with this film because they don't want to offend China for the second time. Even I don't think they did, to be honest, because I think Mulan really well represents China and stuff. But according to them, not so much. They're not as big of fans as everyone else in the world is. But the one I want to discuss the most, which is the one has the most controversy, is the Mushu being changed from a dragon to a phoenix. So I've actually went and researched about the importance of phoenixes in Chinese history, because like I said, they kind of wanted to get that Chinese audience in this film, which they didn't have the animated one because controversy and stuff. So this is what I found about like the phoenix. So the legend of the Chinese phoenix states that it's the mythological king of all birds, it's the mythical king of the birds. And the phoenix also appears on many historical objects dating back thousands of years, suggesting that the origins stretch back to the very beginning of Chinese culture, guys. So it's a pretty big deal, this phoenix. It was once believed to only appear during times of peace and prosperity, and the rare treasures would be found where they stopped to rest. The original Chinese name for the phoenix, the Fen Huang, I feel like I've pronounced so many names, like Chinese things, wrong in this video, I apologise guys. This incorporates the notions of Feng, a male bird, and a Huang, a female one. Following this logic, the bird is actually a symbol of the union between femininity and masculinity, or yin and yang. And that actually makes so much sense for Mulan, because that's like Mulan, because she has to unite her femininity with her masculinity to be able to win in the end. So It all kind of relates to Mulan really. And the phoenix is often depicted together with a dragon. You see guys, see where it's going with this? Like the phoenix is so like closely related to dragons anyway, so it's like kind of all the same thing. So it's often depicted together with a dragon, so aka Mushu in the animated film, and the symbol for masculinity, and the emperor, and then together they symbolise the emperor and express, or more commonly, a husband and a wife. The phoenix is essentially the female version of the dragon. That's what I'm getting at here, and that's very important. So essentially, even though the dragon is like more well, the more well-known one out of the two, I think according to this article, the phoenix relates more to Mulan, so maybe we'll have like Mushu and a phoenix if they're going for like this whole union thing. Who knows? Or maybe it is just a phoenix that is now Mushu. Like I said, guys. I mean, as well to support this is like my own thing I've come up with. I feel like a little phoenix spirit makes a little more sense live action wise than like a tiny dragon. And if you guys are still not convinced they want to support Mulan 2020, may I just read out this amazing message that the Instagram user Disney Live Actions put out on Instagram about this film, which is amazing. So I'm going to read this to you guys and I'll put it on the screen now. Many people are not happy about Mulan's live action changes, and that's understandable. But before you want to boycott the movie, I'd like to say a few things. Unlike other live actions like Maleficent and Beauty and the Beast, Mulan's actors are mostly not people who have ample opportunities in Hollywood, simply because they're Asian. Louis Yuffie was already a star, but most of the cast are people trying to survive in an artistic world that despite its recent advances, is still predominantly white. I followed the cast during filming of the movie, and the actors were always talking about how it was a milestone in their lives and their representativeness for Asians. They do not have such opportunities all the time. It would be very sad to see a film that cared so much about Chinese culture and inviting actors who represented that culture to fail because of some changes. Everyone has the right to be upset, just ask to give them a chance, please. Mulan's actors and team went to great lengths to deliver a wonderful job of Asian representativeness and a lot of female empowerment. That sure does bring a lot of honour to us all. Support Mulan 2020. And I can't agree more, this movie is great for opportunities and getting people out there that people might have even heard about before. Aladdin definitely helped people like that, so I think it's another great reason why we should support this film, guys. So, and that kind of concludes today's video. So I hope I have given you guys some great info today about the film and like some history behind certain changes, and I hope you guys are willing to give the film a chance, guys. Believe in Mulan, guys. Believe in Mulan and support Mulan 2020. And yeah, I can't wait for the film. And yeah, bye!